Hi, everyone. This is Dan Hawkins, the Academic Technology Librarian at the Daniel Library at the Citadel. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about literature reviews and what their use is, what's expected if you are assigned one, and what their purpose is. And let's get started. What is a literature review? It's a paper or a section of a paper that describes the state of research in a specific area. Sometimes you will see a paper that is published in an academic journal that is just an overview of what the literature is at that current time. Other times, you're going to see, the other place you're going to see this is as a section at the beginning of most academic papers. Nearly everyone who is doing research is going to try to find out what's been said before, so they're not repeating other research or not saying something that's completely out of line with what other people are saying. So this is usually a section that's a couple pages, or sometimes, depending on the paper or the field, it might be a few paragraphs. But there's usually a section at the beginning of most academic papers that just talk about the state of research in the area that the paper is addressing. And the questions that this is trying to answer are: what have people said in the past? What are people saying now? Where are those gaps in the research that I mentioned earlier? Another way to think of this is someone should be able to read your lit review and have a good idea of the current state of the field. This means that you're going to have to read pretty widely. For an academic paper that's taking place in a semester, you just read as widely as you can. If you're supposed to have 5 sources, you should probably read 10 or 15 and have those narrowed down to the 5 or 15 best that best represent the field to the best of your understanding. With a longer range project like a master's thesis or a dissertation, you're going to put considerably more time and effort into reading far more widely. I think the trick is that you read as widely as you can in the time that you have, and choose the articles that best explain what the state of the field is at the time. And in your thing, there's going to be some summary, but you are honestly trying to say this is what the field is saying. So if you just have a list of articles and you summarize each one, that's an annotated bibliography. That's a very helpful thing, but that's not what a lit review is. You're going to be doing some synthesis. So you're going to be saying these 3 articles seem to be making this argument. There's a little bit of a counter argument here with these 3 articles, and this article seems to support one versus the other, but makes allowances based on what the second people said. So what you're trying to do is give a clear view of what's happening in the field. So in order to do that, you can't just summarize a bunch of papers. You need to do a fair amount of synthesis as well. And like I said, there will be a lot of summary in there. So you will be summarizing articles, but that's not all you're doing with a literature review. And one thing to always look out for in any research you do, and it's going to be very important in a lit review as well, to make sure that it's accurate, is you're not going for confirmation bias. You may have an idea going into a research project of what you think is happening, but you really need to make sure that you are not just cherry picking things that actually support what you already say. That's called confirmation bias. You see this is rampant in social media as well as some places in academia. It's a real problem. So what you want to do is to get an accurate representation of the field. You do not want to say you do not want to have things that are just all biased to what you already think, so that you are trying to do that. You want to actually say, this is what the field is, and this is not to say you don't have your own opinion. You can say, I tend to lean more towards these people. That comes more actually in the paper than in the lit review. But I'm not telling you not to have an opinion. But what I am telling you is that the state of the field is not based on your opinion. It's based on the work of a lot of different people, and you need to accurately represent that. Because what a lit review does is essentially provides a map to yours or others' future research, and that is essentially what the final product does. You've taken all the things, you've read as widely as you possibly can in the time that you have. You've narrowed it down to the articles that best fit that best describe the state of research as far as you can tell. You try to avoid confirmation bias, and you synthesize the work of all these people while citing them and giving them credit for their ideas, and you will then be prepared to help other people find what they want to research. If you're doing this as a solo project, sometimes if a professor assigns this in a semester, it's often in preparation for a later paper, and what you've done is you've set a really good groundwork for yourself in that paper as well. As in any academic paper, you are going to need to cite your sources, so make sure you know what type of citations your professor prefers, and follow those instructions, and make sure you have a bibliography with what you're going here. If you have any questions about this or other library-related things, feel free to reach out to me at dhawkin2@citadel.edu, or you can email our reference email address at reference@citadel.edu. That is monitored by more people, so if I happen to be gone on a certain day, you might get a quicker response that way. But please feel free to reach out to us. Don't hesitate. We're here to help you, and we want you to take advantage of the resources we have.